Nigerian government has won a case in the British court that has overturned an $11 billion arbitration award made to a firm following a dispute over a failed gas deal. The award, first made in 2017, then increased in 2019 to include interest, amounted to a huge chunk of Nigeria's foreign reserves.
The ruling is a part of a protracted legal battle between British Virgin Islands-based firm Process and Industrial Developments Limited (P&ID) and the Nigerian government. Nigeria's lawyers argued that P&ID had paid bribes to obtain the contract and corrupted lawyers to obtain confidential documents. But P&ID denied the allegations, blaming the failure of the gas deal on institutional incompetence.
Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, welcoming the decision, described it as a victory for Africa and the developing world, which he said had long been on the receiving end of overt exploitation. And that's the update there. Like we did say during the newspaper reviews, it was a very bad stain. It wasn't a good time for how we looked for Nigeria. We certainly do need some good news right now, something to make us smile and maybe in some way redeem a bit of the unfortunately bad image that the world has created about Nigeria. Some we've caused, some just because it's quote unquote what is popular. So yes, that's the update we have there.
Yeah, I mean, you should pretty just to reiterate what we had initially mentioned, that the case is one of, the most embarrassing that we've seen. As much as we would celebrate as a country, victory in court, it's still one of the most embarrassing cases that, we've seen, Nigeria. If you remember that there's still the OPL 245 case, I think that is still an ongoing case. But this one, is a case that started in 2010, the year 2010. And it was quiet, for the first 5 years. I think the first 5 years of arbitration, it's normally arbitration normally is kept in-house. It's quiet, and so nobody knew about it or heard about it until 2015, of course, when the new government came into office. And then, at that time, there had already seemingly been rulings against Nigeria, or at least the stage was set for a ruling against Nigeria. $6.6 billion in damages. P&ID was awarded with a 7% per annum interest, which of course then eventually got to the $11 billion that we're talking about now, that were, where they expected that we would pay. I also saw, graphic of how the funds were going to be shared, amongst the P&ID members, or, a group rather, if Nigeria did, get to pay back that $11 billion. Once again, very embarrassing. And it once again tells about the number of institutional frameworks that need to be fixed and corrected and checkmated with processes in Nigeria. The way that contracts are signed, the way that deals are signed, the processes through which deals on this level and this magnitude are signed on behalf of Nigeria, every single part of it needs to be checked. Even the judicial aspect of it need to be checked so Nigeria doesn't find itself in this place again. The reason that this happened was because of the failure of certain structures and institutions in Nigeria to protect the country from these types of situations. And not just the failure to protect the country, these institutions and these structures also made it easy for people to go through the back door, to bribe their way through, through these processes and set up Nigeria for failure, both those coming from the British Virgin Islands and those here in Nigeria. From the government in Nigeria in 2010, the Goodluck Jonathan period. So it's a complete mess, complete and utter mess. But it's a good thing that this is where we are now. The question, I would be asking, and I believe a lot of Nigerians would be asking, is how much development and how much improvement has been made in Nigeria's institutional framework that awards contracts? In what ways have we, redefined the process? In what ways have we fine-tuned the process to ensure that we never find ourselves in a situation like this again? In what ways have we fine-tuned the process through which the companies, every single company that gets a contract in Nigeria, from the Nigerian government or even the state government level, or even the local government level, that it goes through a due diligence and the exact process that it should go through? In what ways are we fine-tuning all those processes? Because these things continue to happen in Nigeria every other day. Fraudulent contracts are being given out to fraudulent companies that almost do not exist, that have absolutely no business with the contracts that they are seeking or that they are giving. It happens every day. So these are some of the things that we hope that Nigeria as a country learns from this P&ID case, and hopefully from the OPL 245 case also, when that one is eventually concluded.